Thank you, Justin. Today I wish to discuss two areas related to the social area of middle school students, these being the social characteristics of middle students and also the difference in social categories of many of these students. I will begin by discussing two of the social characteristics of middle school students. They will be their need to belong to a group and their lack of social maturity. Young adolescents have a strong need to belong to a group, with peer approval becoming more important as adult approval decreases in importance. This need often results in fierce loyalty to peer groups, and adolescents often experience opposing loyalties to peer group and families. Additionally, young adolescents' social maturity often lags behind their physical and intellectual development. Consequently, young adolescents may overreact to social situations, ridicule others, and feel embarrassed. They are also socially vulnerable due to influences of media and negative interactions with adults. What does this information mean for teaching? Let me explain. Because of young adolescents' strong need for affiliation, they need opportunities to form positive and healthy relationships with peers. Teachers must recognise the importance of friendship and peer relationships and provide opportunities for peer interactions. Teachers can achieve this by planning activities that engage students in argumentation or debate in academic settings, as well as those that simulate social situations through role plays or simulations. Schools also need to provide young adolescents with experience that promote freedom and independence within a safe space, such as creating student governments, service clubs, and other leadership groups. Now, Justin, moving on to the social categories of middle school students. Social factors such as class, gender, ethnicity, and culture, abilities, location of middle school students are consistently mentioned in educational contexts because of their relationship to educational opportunities, experiences, and learning outcomes. These relationships are both complex and varied. Today I'll briefly outline how differences within social categories are talked about in the educational context. Firstly, social class. Social class is a key influence on educational access and outcomes. Students from high-income families tend to do better at school than students from low-income families. Next, race, culture and ethnicity. Australia is a country of considerable racial, ethnic, linguistic and cultural diversity. Within this diversity are differences in educational provision, experience, expectations and outcomes. For example, there is a considerable difference between Indigenous and non-Indigenous students. Location plays a significant role in educational outcomes. Differences between students in rural and remote and urban communities often pertain to level of access to educational resources. For example, many students in remote communities do not have easy access to high schools, so their transition from primary school to high school is not necessarily straightforward. Moving on to families. Family size, structure, parental roles, mobility and values play a critical part in how young adolescents construct their identity and frame their educational experience. And last but not least, friendship groups. Peer culture and friendship groups can be particularly important for young adolescents and critical to their engagement at school. The importance attached by young people to their social and friendship dimensions of schooling is often raised as a concern by teachers because of the way that it can overshadow the academic dimensions of schooling. Of course, there are wide-ranging initiatives that respond to the educational needs of particular groups of students. I do not have enough time today to do justice to the breadth and depth of debate and initiatives related to students' difference, diversity and inclusions. I suggest that if any of the listeners are interested in reading further on this topic, that they read Learning in the Middle Years, More Than a Transition. Thank you for your time today, Justin.